Roaring Kitty live stream was on Friday, and we saw obviously GameStop crater from that point. But I want to react to this video. I don't know how this is going to be, if it's going to be hypocritical or not. I did see that there is a clip on CNBC talking from a former SEC senior counsel on if maybe there should be an investigation into potential market manipulation on the end of Roaring Kitty.
Land him in hot water. From what I saw, didn't seem to be anything that would necessarily be a big red flag for regulators. But what did you think?
Agree. I mean, he's a smart guy. He holds many FINRA regulations. He knows exactly what he's doing. I saw the whole thing as a stream of consciousness. He's not telling people what to do. He's only discussing his personal opinion. That doesn't give regulators a lot of wiggle room with what they want to do.
And to her point, which I'm not surprised that she agrees, because he isn't doing anything wrong in my opinion, but I do feel that I was a little taken back in the beginning because I thought that maybe, CNBC is usually hating on him and hating on, anyone who's hurting the market in general for them. But I completely agree here. It's like, if you're going to go after Roaring Kitty for that, then we would go after basically every single CNBC analyst, any CEO that goes onto their site or onto their platform to promote their company and talk about why people should be investing in it. That's all he's doing.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to label him a market manipulator. He answered questions saying it was just him. He didn't have other people who were in it with him. That would have been something they would have watched very closely. And he certainly seemed to lay out and show what he was holding. I mean, it showed that he would have lost quite a lot of ground just as the stock went down, too.
If anything, what he's doing right now is setting up a perfect defense for market manipulation. He's giving regulators everything that he would use in his defense if they brought up a market manipulation.
It's totally true. So basically, it's very smart from what she said, because obviously he's a very smart guy. But he's kind of preemptively shutting down the idea of market manipulation by showing all of these things. Because if this is already here, there's no point in going to court to fight that when the evidence against it has been there from the very beginning.
Manipulation. I think ultimately what they're trying to do is ban him. That's a very high bar for them to reach.
Ban him.
And that's the other thing too, right? Like that's what happens when you rise through the ranks and you get too powerful for the powers that be. They silence you, or they just ban you in general. And it's usually for something personal, especially like the stuff we're seeing with Elon's comp
From
package.
ever being able to trade
That's a
again?
different thing.
I think so. I mean, that would be the only outcome, right? If he was charged with market manipulation, they would be seeking a lifetime ban. They would try to get him out of the market completely. You see what E-Trade is doing. They're unhappy. However, they're getting the best press they've ever gotten. Their information is on every single thing he posts. So
can you imagine that? Like, all right, I'm going to go sideways here, but that's why I'm doing these reaction videos. This is the type of stuff that fucking worries me, right? A lot of people talk about Elon Musk and the comp package, which I brought up earlier, talk about Keith Gill. And it's like, there is this pattern that when you become too powerful and you cannot be controlled, that they have to shut you down. And that's just the truth. And it's like, can you imagine being Keith Gill and you're actually so good at this and you're fucking over Wall Street so bad that the only way for them to stop you is not put you in prison for doing anything illegal, but to remove your rights. This is where it gets scary, guys. Remove your fucking right to participate in the United States stock market just because they don't like you, basically. And this is the same thing for Elon's comp package, whether you believe it's too much money or not. People agreed to it, a judge overturned it, and the reason that a judge overturned it in Delaware, of all places, the reason, and I'm right in Pennsylvania, but the reason for that is because it was too much money, right? Like, this is why you move to America. This is why you live in this country, is because of the beautiful and amazing upside that there is. That's why capitalism at its true point, not crony capitalism or shit capitalism, like real, true capitalism at its own, like bare bones, is not a bad system at all. It's a great system for people who want to be hardworking and who want to put in their effort. And it's this type of stuff that just ultimately worries me, going sideways from here. And maybe it worries me too much because I might have a grandiose vision of myself, but I can see myself like this. Like, for me, what if I got so big trading and sharing and all of my stuff worked that they weren't happy about it and I just got banned? It's a possibility, right? Like, in 20, 30 years from now, who knows? But that is a worrisome thing that you, as an American citizen, really have to take note, because it might not mean it to you or matter to you. At this point, you're not a billionaire, but it's crazy to think that even the people who can, quote, break the system and get out of the rat race still really can't.
They should be happy right now in a good position as well.
I didn't think about that this is free advertising, whether they like it or not. What do you just think about the retail movement in general? It's something that we saw the huge rise up during the pandemic. There's still a lot of active retail trading. And look, on Wall Street, people have always said they want people to be involved in trading. What do you think of this brand of retail trading?
I think it's fantastic. For the first time, individual investors are out there. They're out in front. They're learning from people. Now, look, meme stocks, there could be an SEC rule on meme stocks. Maybe they just don't like that. But retail investors are finally getting into the market. They're starting to understand what's going on.
Of course they love that because we bring liquidity to them.
They're trading their own money, and that's great for the market. And if Wall Street wants to try to beat retail, they're doing that right now. This is a game. Wall Street is the game, and now regular investors are having
And that's
fun.
the thing, right? Like, and that's going back to it. It's a game. And it's a game where there's winners and losers. And 90% of the time, we are the losers. Retail is the losers. And they're cool with that. But you can see that it flips on their head when they're the ones who are losing.
Fun too.
That's when they act like pussies and they're like, I want to change the rules.
And I guess part of it is just getting people actively involved. What's the right way to go about this? Because you don't want to see retail investors who are left holding the bag if there's a big movement that is not based on fundamentals and things that get tossed around. But look, people have thought that Wall Street was rigged for years and years anyway, and that the retail investor could never win.
That's true. I mean, but here right now with these types of meme stocks, Keith Gill particularly, everything is public, right? Perfect information makes perfect trades. That is the baseline of economics. The more retail investors have actual information, the better decisions they can make. Right now, we're seeing retail investors act very differently from how they did back in 2021. We're also seeing the street act very differently. They're reacting to Keith Gill. They're reacting to the positions he's showing that he's holding.
And that's what's funny is if you remember in the beginning, they just dismiss it. Right? It's with everything. It's with the whole market. Like you look at Jamie Dimon dismissing Bitcoin, dismissing everything else, and then no, we've been buying Bitcoin the whole like. Dude, we've seen this. Like, we've seen this. They will dismiss you, try to pretend that at the end of the day, you don't know what the hell you're talking about until you become so big and so strong and so powerful. I'm not saying like Keith Gill is. I don't even freaking know about the guy that much. And I'm not like a long-term GameStop holder or anything. I'm just commenting on this as somebody who's been doing this for 9 years as a retail investor and a very successful one as well. Like, they literally try to discredit you as much as they can. And then once you cannot be discredited, they silence you. Or, however you want to look at it.
And affirming that he's holding, this is what the market is supposed to do.
How much of it, though, is different than what day traders were back in the late 90s, early 2000s? I mean, it's one thing to be an investor. It's another thing to be a trader. And it's a lot harder to be a trader, whether you're a pro or whether you're a retail investor.
Right. There's always winners and losers. Day trading is one of the highest risk positions that you can take. That doesn't mean that retail investors should be banned from doing it. Day traders have been banned, right? Because they know how to manipulate the market. They know how to affect a short squeeze. Keith Gill and other meme stock creators are doing is what they're trying to do is find a rule that doesn't exist right now to control the market. We don't want retail investors left holding the bag. But they have perfect information about what could or could not happen with this particular stock.
All right, guys. So, obviously, from what we saw there, nobody is expecting Keith Gill to go to prison or anything, or market manipulation. I don't think it's market manipulation at all. I think it's free speech. I think it's your ability to share with whatever you want. And the problem is they're all about that until it doesn't work out for them, right? It's just how life is. It's how policy is. I mean, you have Pelosi and the stuff that she gets to do and they get to get away with. And it's all cool for them to do it, but it's not cool for the everyday person to do it. It's not cool for retail to do it. And in Keith Gill's situation, we'll see what ends up happening. I really hope that he doesn't get banned. I think that is, it doesn't affect my life, but as an American, it very much so worries me. And we'll see what happens. Now, as far as GameStop setting up here, we're still over market bias. We're still considered bullish. And as long as we hold over $20, there's a chance that we can see a push back to 48, 56, 60, 64, maybe back in that range. But I will say that if that $20 level is given up, there is a chance that we can move our way back down to 12. That's just from a technical standpoint. If you guys want me to go over a fundamental standpoint, what issuing shares means, and my whole take on this, then let me know down in the comments. Thanks for all the support, guys. If you want access to all of our free trading resources to learn how we've been able to make $754,000 since November using only 2 indicators, the link to that course and all of our free courses will be down below. Thanks for all the support, guys. I'll see you next time.